Welcome to the Awakened Goddess Show, your source for inspiration, wisdom, and personal discovery. The place to learn from a diverse mix of mentors, metaphysical experts, spiritual leaders, and best-selling authors from around the world. I'm Angela Wilkinson, attraction coach and founder of The Goddess Next Door. Join me as I explore the minds of my masterful guests while they share powerful insights and easy-to-use tools you can start using right away. Now, let's tap into the energy of the Awakened Goddess and be enlightened by today's guest. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Angela Wilkinson, and welcome to this episode of the Awakened Goddess Show. Reverend Marie Larotonda is a professional clairvoyant, reader, healer, and teacher living in San Francisco Bay Area. 20 years ago, during a meditation, Marie realized that her mission in this lifetime was the dissemination of spiritual information onto the planet. She fulfills this commitment by teaching people how to heal themselves through meditation and self-awareness training. But before we dive into this juicy conversation today with Marie, I want to let you know that Spark Society is officially now open. Spark Society is the place to be to get access to all of my best stuff. My programs, meditations, and ebooks. And I give you my secrets for manifesting true love. Let me teach you the best of what I know, help you implement everything you learn, give you the support you need, and help you stop waiting for what you want. I'll help you take charge of your life today. When you become a member, here's what you'll get. First, I'll share the exact steps, in juicy detail, how I met my soulmate in 30 days and created a mind-blowing relationship with the Love Spark process. Plus, you'll get bonuses that you can only get as a Spark Society member. Those include my chakra clearing and grounding meditation, Meet Your Mate meditation, and daily love mantras. Second, as a Spark Society member, you'll get exclusive gifts from the Awakened Goddess Show guests that you can't get anywhere else. Ebooks, mini-courses, and meditations, all beautifully created products just for you. Plus, every single month, new gifts are being added. Register for your Spark Society membership over at bit.ly/love-spark and get my Love Spark program today. Thanks for listening. Welcome, Marie, to the Awakened Goddess Show. Today we're going to be talking about meditation. It's not what you think. And a really cool topic we're also going to talk about is your experience with extraterrestrials. So we'll see how we kind of take this journey and get there. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here, and I've been looking forward to our call.
Yeah. So some people that are new to meditation and they're working with energy, they complain that they're not feeling anything. Why might they not be experiencing that energy?
Okay, I love that question because it's so very real to me. I was one of those people who just didn't feel a darn thing when I was meditating. I mean, everyone else would be like, "Oh wow, I saw this and I saw that and I felt this," and I was just like, "I'm not getting anything. I'm not experiencing it," and that's because I had preconceived notions as to what I was supposed to be experiencing. Okay, and everyone experiences lights and spirit differently. There's all these different nuances to it. So some people, when they start meditating, they don't think they're experiencing it because they're thinking. That's the difference. Meditation is not really about thinking. Meditation is about experiencing spirit. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when people start meditating and they're saying, "I don't feel anything," they're focusing on their solar plexus, or they're focusing on, like their heart is beating. And when it comes to spirit is the experience, and spirit is much more quiet. And for the most part, it's much more subtle. I mean, yes, there are times when, energetically you're like, wow, I'm feeling this, like with Kundalini, someone who has their first Kundalini experience, you're like, oh my God, what just happened to me? But usually it's much more subtle, and it takes a while for people to start knowing the difference between the subtleness of the spiritual vibration that they're working with, and thinking that they have to be feeling a certain way or experiencing it a specific way because they read it in a book. Oh, this book said this is what I'm supposed to be experiencing. Yeah, these are all generalities, but everyone experiences energy and the results of meditation differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that most people go through, that first experience of when they're learning to meditate, they're trying to figure out, what it's supposed to feel like. And they're like, I can't, I have all these thoughts in my head and I can't stop thinking. And then they're kind of like in this struggle with themselves of trying to kind of have that mind of no thought. And so I can see how, with that struggle, it's like trying to figure it all out. It's kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's, people go into effort.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I want to meditate to find peace. And then they're trying so hard and then they're getting frustrated, as opposed to just sit there and be. It's really difficult, especially in our culture, in the American culture, to just sit somewhere and be, because you start hearing your parents and your school teachers, oh, you should be doing something. You're not being productive. So you have to work through all of these layers of other people's programming about what you should be doing. Right now, you don't have the permission to just sit there, relax, and be with yourself.
Well, I can't tell you how many times I've been hearing that message. So, I think that is the next thing for me, is to just allow and just be, and instead of be in the doing, be in the being. So, yeah.
Yeah, and also, like, another step along with effort is when you're efforting and when you're really trying, that almost tells your body and tells your spirit that you can't do it because you're trying so hard. It's almost like you're bumping up against a wall. Oh, I'm trying really hard. And all of your energy is going into the trying. Yeah. So then there's not a lot of energy left over for the being. Just to sit there and let go of the effort, because the effort says that you can't do it. Oh, because you have to effort to do it. Meditation is the total opposite of efforting. It's just being and quieting down and relaxing into it.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So, there are even people that have been meditating for a long time. I know that they're kind of like what you were talking about. They have the tendency to try and make things happen, but things just don't seem to change. So why is that?
Things don't seem to change sometimes for, I would say, it's two reasons. The first is because they are an effort. Okay, that's a real big one. That the resistance says that they can't do it. Another part of it is everything is, working with energy is in layers, and you peel one layer and you may not realize that you've peeled 75 layers because you're not seeing a result immediately, but it's happening. So on one level, you kind of have to trust the experience and know that yes, you are healing yourself. So it's really give yourself time and space to process what you need to. You're going to be shedding layers. And also, sometimes what the ego of the person thinks is what they want is not what their spirit wants them to have, or believes that they need to learn something. And if they're completely resisting what it is they're going to learn, it's going to stay there. It's not going to go away. So that's the second part. It's the acceptance part. You have to kind of accept where you are and know that your spirit, your soul is directing your spirit and your body. And it's okay to feel like you're not progressing because you really are. It's just your mind trying to tell you you're not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I wonder if you can talk about how to know when you're coming up against your own resistance versus like how do you know if you're on the right path? You know, if you're not seeing results when you're thinking you're doing what you need to be doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would say the first thing is to, when you go into meditation, to tune into your body. If you're sitting there and you're saying neutrally, gee, I really want this and nothing's happening, where do you feel that in your body? Do you feel it in your solar plexus? Do you feel it in your heart and your chest? If you feel it in your solar plexus, then that says to me that there's effort and resistance involved. Mm. Okay, if you feel it in your heart, I see the heart as being more of that gracious place where there's emotions stored up. So if you actually just sit there and you ask yourself, why isn't this happening? Feel into your heart and allow any old emotions that might be in there that you didn't realize were in there to come out. I mean, I have had so many experiences during meditation where I'm just meditating and I start getting all emotional for no reason at all. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm not remembering a past, injustice or invalidation. And all of a sudden I get grief coming out of my heart and I get teary. Mm-hmm. So the best thing to do is to just go back into meditation and just say, why am I feeling this way? And allow your body to give you clues and to release it. And I think one other way to know if you're on the right path is to kind of pay attention to your dreams. Sometimes your dreams will give you information. If you have like a repetitive dream, that says to me that there's an energy that you have not completed. And that may be the energy that's stalling your progress along your spiritual path and getting in the way of the things that you want to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love how our bodies and our subconscious try to communicate with us. And I think that is a huge skill in learning how your soul and your body, how it, its language. I think we all have our own personal language with our body. And it's just such, I think, a turning point when you're able to tap into that and use that insight that your body is trying to share with you.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And what I think for me has been fun over the years is when I start finding the clues in my dreams. I used to have dreams about being in snow, walking through snow. And it took me forever to realize that if I was walking through the snow, it meant that I was hitting a huge layer of unconsciousness. And that made me really happy because it was my spirit telling me, look, you're hitting this new layer of unconsciousness. You're working through it. You're clearing it. So I'd wake up in the morning and go, yay, I dreamt about snow. This is totally cool. And then I have dreams about sloshing through sand, just like, not that it's really hard to get through the sand, but it was more like, why am I walking on sand? The sand would show up in the middle of a cityscape, for instance. Oh. And finally, I realized that the sand I was clearing karma. For some reason, my mind associated the hourglass sands, the sands of time. Yes. That was in my subconscious and was trying to tell me, you're clearing karma, you're working through karma, Marie. That's what's going on. Oh, so cool. Now I'm like, woohoo, sand, yay, I'm clearing karma with somebody. And if that person happens to be in the dream, all the more, oh, wow, look, I'm clearing karma with this person.
Yeah. Super cool. I love it. Now, okay, I'm curious about this. I don't know if I'm the only person that this happens to. I'm sure I'm not. But like sometimes during meditation, I'll have body pain. And I know it's not that there's something wrong with my body, but I'm wondering where that might come from.
Yeah, body pain is, even though it hurts, it's a great teacher. Because, as I said before, there's different layers of energy that we work through. And sometimes the energy is locked into a very specific layer at a certain vibration. Mm. So, for instance, for about was probably close to almost a year on and off. This was a long time ago, but it was when I was going through my clairvoyant training program. I would walk into the healing center, sit down in the chair, and be there ready for class. And I would get this pain in my back left shoulder blade, my scapula area in the back. And it would be there throughout the entire class. I would get up, leave at the end of the class, and as soon as I walked out of the building, it was gone. Mm. So I thought, well, is this related to the building? It didn't happen anywhere else. Well, during that same year, I went on a retreat, and the retreat was in a completely different location. It was a different teacher, and it was a different building. It was even a different state. And lo and behold, I walk into the meditation retreat center and the pain shows up. Well, The centers are set at a higher vibration because it's all about working the higher vibrations. The higher the vibration, the quicker you move through things. So if you're vibrating at, I'll just say A, A on the bottom and Z on the top. If you're vibrating at A, I wasn't feeling any physical pain, but the center, they were vibrating at M, okay, the M level. Well, the M level was pretty high, and that's where my pain was. The spiritual pain that I was trying to clear was at that M vibration. So I would only feel it when I would walk into the center.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it was like amazing. And so I, over that course of the year, whatever that energy that I was experiencing was a past lifetime where I had been betrayed and stabbed in the back. It was, almost like the physical manifestation of the phrase being stabbed in the back. I was feeling pain in my back, in my shoulder blade, my scapula area. So sometimes when you're feeling physical pains like that, it is the manifestation of the spiritual and or emotional pain that's been locked into your body, into your nervous system, and into that body-spirit communication space. And it's there, and you'll only feel it when you access it at certain vibrational levels. It gets kind of complicated to explain it, but that's the simplified way I can explain it. Mm-hmm. It's, the energy was manifested at a certain vibration, and it will only disappear when you re-access it at that same vibration.
Yeah, I get it. It's kind of almost, the image I was kind of getting was like an elevator. Like you go up to, the first floor, or you're on the first floor, and when the doors open, you experience one thing. Get back in the elevator, you go up to the 5th floor, go out, and you see something different. So it's the same kind of thing with that vibrational frequency on that scale. So yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Yep.
Okay, so I know you have some really cool experiences during meditation and some experiences with UFO sightings and ETs. So let's talk about that. I'm so curious. So take it away.
Okay. All right.
You're like, where to begin?
Yeah, I'm like, there's so many different things that are going through my mind right now. Okay, so my very first conscious UFO sighting had a great setup to it. Okay, my sister and I, we were going on vacation, and we were going to be going to the desert Southwest, and we were going to be going to a lot of the ruins in the desert Southwest. So the year that we did that also happened to be the year that I started my clairvoyant training program, and I learned about putting out to the universe what it is you want to happen. What do you want to create? Well, on that trip, I said, okay, there's just two things that I really, really want to happen. I said, I want to see a UFO, and I want to see an amazing, amazing shooting star, like just a tremendous shooting star. Mm-hmm. Well, on day 5, by day 5, I hadn't seen any of the shooting star, like, an amazing shooting star. And I also hadn't seen any UFOs. And I was kind of like, whatever, this isn't going to happen. Well, that day, we were driving on this dirt road leading into Chaco Canyon National Park, which the dirt road is 17 miles long. and there's no one coming in and out of the park because it's a very isolated park, and you can only camp. There's no like hotels or anything in there. So we were the only people on this road, and it was a heavy dirt road, and it vibrated so much that the car just died. So, and at that time, we didn't have cell phones. This was close to 20 years ago. We didn't have any cell phones. So we're sitting there on the side of the road, and it's really, really hot, okay, and the sun is starting to set. So I'm like looking at the horizon where the road is, where the road extends both going towards the park and towards the main highway. And I see something in the sky, and it's shiny, and it's actually shaped like a saucer. And I'm looking at that, and I'm going, oh, God, I'm like, that looks like a UFO. And I'm like, nah, that can't be a UFO. So I turn away from that portion of the sky. I say something to my sister, which couldn't have taken more than 7 seconds, okay, to do. And then I kind of turn back and I look at the sky, and it wasn't there anymore. Like, the object was gone. And I was like, did I just see a UFO? And I turned to my sister. I'm like, I think I just saw a UFO. And she's like, well, did you take a picture? I'm like, well, and the camera was sitting right there on the seat, the front seat. And I was outside, I was standing outside of the car, and I'm like, no, I didn't. But at the time, I was still like, oh, maybe it was just the sun glinting, because the sun was setting. Mm-hmm. I thought it was just glinting off of a funky airplane. But I mean, if it was an airplane, it would have been an airplane with no wings, because it had that saucer shape. So I kind of, dismiss it. I'm like, nah, it probably wasn't a UFO. It's probably just a regular aircraft. So about close to 45 minutes later, these guys drive up. They were coming out of the park, and they're like, oh, man, we're heading out of the park. And we're like, we're heading into the park. Can you please tell the park rangers when you get out of the park? So they relayed the information to the park rangers, and the park ranger showed up about half an hour after that. By this time, it was already nightfall, and he's like, okay, we figured out what had made the car stall. Fix that immediately, because it was just something, some coil had come loose. We just literally popped it back together. Get in the car starts right up. And he says, hey, well, it's already nightfall, just follow me into the campground. So we're driving along, we're following him into the campground. Just about when we get into the campground, this magnificent shooting star literally falls from the sky right like in front of my car. It looked like fireworks. It was so bright. And as soon as I saw that, I went, oh my God, that was a UFO I saw outside, because those are the two things I wanted, to see a UFO and to see a magnificent shooting star.
Wow.
So that was my first exposure to a UFO. Well, fast forward, literally like 10 years, I start, getting interested in the UFO phenomena. Well, I end up going on a training with Stephen Greer and C. SETI, and we went to the Joshua Tree National Park. It was a week-long training, and we were doing night viewing of the skies. And during that week, I saw numerous different colored objects flying around in the sky. And at one point, I think it was like probably Wednesday or Thursday night of the event, so like about halfway through it, during a break when everyone was so we meditate, and we send out a hello to the universe and ask the ETs to come and show themselves to us. So we had been in really deep meditation for quite some time, and we decided, okay, it's time to take a break. Well, during the break, when everyone was kind of up and walking around socializing, I was walking towards two people to kind of say hello and start talking, and I noticed that they were staring at something in the sky. And then I noticed everyone else was kind of fixated. So I immediately turned to look to see where everyone was looking at. And there was this tremendous plasma UFO that was like shades of orange and red and yellow. And it was moving. It looked like it looked like it was coming up. And I had seen it just as it was hitting the apex. And so I saw it curve up and then start coming down. And as I was watching it, it was moving in this syncopated rhythm, like and I was watching it moving and just amazing at the colors and the size of this thing. And it must have been at least 20 miles away. And at a 20-mile distance, it was the size of two of my thumbs put together. I mean, this thing was huge. You know, when you do the mathematical equation as to see how big it was. Mm-hmm. And I was watching it go down, and I'm like, oh my God, it's going to crash into the ground. It went into the ground. It did not crash. It literally, the molecules of whatever this craft was went into the ground.
Wow.
It did not crash. And I believe that evening there was at least, I think, 18 people who witnessed this event. And I mean, everyone was just standing there like, oh my God, what did we just see? I mean, this thing was magnificent and the gorgeous colors. And you know, my understanding of that experience and my awareness once the group went into meditation to kind of, after this event, to kind of tune in more, is that energetically underneath Joshua Tree, there is a UFO, I'll call it a UFO center. There is there's a UFO center. I'm not sure what species of ET it is, but underneath Joshua Tree. And that's one of the reasons why we had seen so many other objects flying around the sky during that week, because that was basically a UFO, you know, a landing site, but it's underneath. It's in a slightly different dimension than we are. So that's how come it can be literally under the ground in the earth underneath Joshua Tree National Park.
Wow, what a fantastic experience. You know.
And here's another one, which this one just still blows my mind. That later that same week, there's another one, right? Later that same week, there was so once again, the whole group's in meditation, and it was a clear night, okay? And I started hearing something that sounded like thunder off in the distance. It was almost like a very low rumbling. And I thought, well, that's odd. I'm like, so I opened my eyes to look around to see if there was like heat lightning or something. And I didn't see any heat lightning. Well, I kept hearing this vibration and I kept feeling this vibration, and it literally felt like it was moving towards the group. So I opened my eyes and I stood up and I walked over to the edge of the group to where two other attendees were talking, and you know, they're both. I asked them. I said, "There's something approaching us," and they're like, "Yeah, we're feeling it. We're just not seeing it." So I closed my eyes, and my inner vision is telling me that there is literally a craft hanging out right over the group, a little off center, hanging out right next to the group, and that we're being observed by the ETs on board. And I opened my eyes at that point and I looked to see what it is. And I look, and I did not see anything with my physical eyes. I will say that there might have been a slight distortion in the sky. Like I was looking at trying to see the stars, and they were slightly distorted. And I had this incredible conscious awareness that there were people on board looking back at me, observing them. And I'm standing there going, oh my God, they're invisible, or there's some kind of a cloaking device. I don't know what it is, but I know this is not my imagination. And the other two people standing there with me were total agreement. They're like, yep, there's something there, and they're observing us. And then I felt this very light gust of wind, and then I felt them start moving, where I felt the craft. I could feel it start moving away, and then it just like disappeared within, like the feeling disappeared like within 5 seconds, and they were just gone.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's freaky, and when you think about it, you're like, oh no, that's not possible. But man, your body, my intuition and my body is telling me there was something there. There was something standing there in the air. It was there, and I just can't deny that what I felt and what I experienced.
Yeah, that's those kinds of experiences, like you say, we have the tendency to doubt ourselves and question the experience we have, and I think that's another example of why developing your intuition and the relationship you have with your body sensations really adds so many other dimensions to our experience in life. So thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I love sharing this information because whenever I share this, especially if it's in a group, there's always someone in the group who will raise their hand and start talking about something that they experienced that they've never told anyone else before because they were afraid to, or they were embarrassed to, or they were unsure. So that's why I love sharing my experiences with people and teaching them how to meditate and sharing the experiences during the meditation, because there's always someone in the group who will benefit and who will feel validated. Because a big thing about your intuition is having it validated, and not having people tell you you're crazy or you're imagining things. My experience with feeling like I was crazy was when I was a child. I would say I was probably just getting into puberty. I would always feel that when I took a shower, someone was watching me, and literally to the point where I would pull open the shower curtain and peek around and say, "Who's there?" And because I had 3 siblings, so you never know. We had one bathroom, we shared one bathroom, and you never know. Even though I would always lock the bathroom door, I would never know. So I would, open the shower curtain to see who's spying on me, and there was never anyone there. But I felt it in my body that there was someone in the bathroom with me. And once again, fast forward 25 years, when I start getting into metaphysics and spirituality and meditating, that I was like, oh, it was a spirit in the bathroom with me. But I couldn't physically see them with my eyes. And because no one could validate my physical experiences, I just blew it off, And, back then, if I had the opportunity to start learning to meditate back then, I mean, my everything would be so different for me at this point. My experiences, my abilities, my awareness, my understanding of how life operates. So it's really important to validate little kids when, really people have to listen to little kids when they talk about their imaginary friends.
Yeah.
Because I would say half the time those are real spirits that they're communicating with, and it's not figments of their imagination. It's not things they're making up. It's they're really there. They're just vibrating in a different level. And the great way of explaining that vibrating at a different level is if you look at the color spectrum. Our eyes can physically see, Roy G. Biv, from red to violet, the spectrum. But we can't see ultraviolet and we can't see infrared. Well, guess what? There are ETs who vibrate in infrared. And my experience with that, and this is kind of like this is my experience. On another one of my Sea SETI trips, this was to Mount Shasta, some of the people there had infrared binoculars. Okay.
Cool.
So at one point during the sessions at nighttime, a craft was sighted with someone who had infrared binoculars. They followed the craft. The craft landed in the lot adjacent to where we were. So it's a big grassy area. Okay. And I think they said either 2 or 3 ETs got off board and were standing in the wooded area watching us. And after a few minutes, they got back on board and they left. Well, only the people with the infrared goggles could see these ETs. Mm. The woman I was sitting right next to, she borrowed someone else's infrared goggles and she got to see the ETs and she described them to me. She said that the ones that she saw had much larger heads, and they're much larger heads, thin, slender bodies, and their torsos kind of leaned a little bit forward as they walked. And she said that they moved very, I think she said that they actually moved kind of swiftly, like their movements were kind of quick. But once again, if I had infrared binoculars, I would have seen them. But they could have been standing right next to me, and I wouldn't have known it because they're vibrating in the infrared spectrum. And our physical eyes cannot see that color.
Yeah. So. Well, and not just ETs, but the spirit world. I mean, we have, entities, angels, guides, all sorts of things around us that we're not able to see with our physical eye. And so, that's one of my goals and desires, is to be able to kind of go into those other dimensions and start, kind of expanding my awareness in that. So I love your stories. They're so cool. So I understand that you have a fun, or I don't know if it's fun, but a meditation for us to do. You're going to walk us through a female grounding meditation. So I think, it's always great to have an actual experience during the show. So would you go ahead and lead us through that?
Sure. I would love to.
Awesome.
All right. So, first thing I want everyone to do is, if possible, I want you to be sitting upright in a chair or on the sofa, and just make sure that your feet are on the ground. And if you can't keep them on the ground, don't have them crossed at the knees or at the ankles. I want your feet to feel like they're touching the ground, and that's just going to help you stay in the body during this meditation. All right, so go ahead, and if you're sitting upright, slowly, gently close your eyes. And I want everyone just to give themselves permission to be fully present in this moment and in their body. And allow yourself to feel the weight of your body sitting on the cushions. And validate that you're going to have a spiritual experience. You're going to heal yourself today. And give yourself a nice deep breath. And just relax some more into your body and into the chair. So we're going to send a hello, an energetic spiritual hello, to our female parts. And our female parts would be our ovaries, our uterus, our vagina, and our female creative energy. And just by sending them a hello, you're validating them. And it's as if you're waking them up and you're appreciating them. Just think about it. How frequently do you really think about your female parts unless you're having problems with your female parts? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to help release old energies that have been accumulating in that space. And the way I like to do it is to visualize what I call a grounding cord. And the grounding cord on the left ovary, it gently connects to the bottom of the left ovary, and it goes straight down into the ground and into the very center of the planet. And it's a cord that's hollowed out. So it's basically a hollow tube that connects your ovary to the center of the planet. And just set the intention that any old energy on that ovary, whether it's yours or someone else's, that energy just releases down that grounding cord, that tube, and it goes into the center of the earth. And don't worry about, oh, I'm dumping on the earth. No, the earth is our mother. Mother Earth, it's like she's changing our diapers. We are releasing, and she is helping us to clean our bottoms. So just go ahead, give yourself permission to release any old energy, pain, emotion. You don't have to know what it is. Just give yourself permission to let it go. And now you can turn to the right ovary and do the same thing. Create that energetic connection between the bottom of the ovary and the center of the planet. Just make sure it's nice and hollow and straight from the bottom to the top. And give your right ovary permission to release any energy, any pain or emotion, no matter where it came from, no matter how long it's been with you. Just let it go. And sometimes you'll see a color releasing. Sometimes you'll feel an emotion releasing. And sometimes you just won't experience anything, but know that you are healing yourself. And next we're going to focus on your uterus and your vagina and your fallopian tubes, just the rest of that female creative matrix. So we're going to connect those grounding cords from the two ovaries, and it's going to be like a big V going forward. But in addition to that V shape, you're going to visualize yourself as if you were 9 months pregnant. So as far out as your belly would extend, I want you to extend that grounding cord all the way out to 9 months pregnant and hook it to the bottom of that pregnant belly. That's where the female creative energy extends forward out of your body. So just create that bigger grounding cord and let that go all the way down into the center of the earth. So there's this big hollow tube underneath all of that female creative power, that physical and spiritual creative matrix. And just give yourself complete permission to release any old pain, injuries, illnesses, emotions, or control energy that might have been sent your way. And if you want, you can choose a color to represent all of those energies and just allow it to drain out of your space and down your grounding cord. And just be amused at what you might find and validate, wow, look what I am capable of doing. And I'm doing this for myself and only myself. I can do this. I am doing this. I am healing myself. And anytime you do a meditation where you've released old energies, it's always a good idea to fill up with fresh new life force. And how I do that is I visualize a gigantic golden sun above my body. Huge, just make it huge. And this golden sun, you fill up with fresh new life force. And just allow yourself to feel the power of that life force. And then allow that big golden sun to descend all around you. And as it descends, you begin to absorb all of its power and strength and fresh new life force into all parts of you, and especially the female creative matrix, and into all aspects of you. So physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual parts of you. And give yourself one more nice deep breath. And open your eyes. Congratulations, ladies. You've just given yourself a wonderful female creative healing.
Wow. That was very powerful.
Yep, because female creative energy is very powerful. Yes, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That was really amazing. I could definitely feel some shifts. So,
excellent.
Yeah, very cool. So I'm wondering if there are any last tips that you want to leave the listeners with that they can start using right away, other than this amazing meditation.
Sure. Sometimes it's really difficult to incorporate 20, 30 minutes meditation a day, which I always suggest, but if you can't, one way you can do it is when you're outside, just say hello to nature. Okay, if you're like walking from your house to the bus stop, just say hello to the wind, to the sun, to the grass or the ground. And if you can, touch a tree or touch the ground and maintain that connection for 1 minute. And just that 1 minute of pure focus and concentration on making that connection is doing two things. You are releasing energy and you are bringing in fresh new life force from the universe through the planet into you. So just doing that one thing for 1 minute is going to help you rejuvenate. And then one other easy thing to do, and you can do this before you go to sleep at nighttime, is as you're laying in bed, just find something that you appreciated, someone or something that you appreciated today. Who did I appreciate? And just send them appreciation from your heart. Just let that appreciation ooze out into the universe and direct it at them. And if they can have it energetically, great. And if they can't, maybe some future time they'll be able to accept your appreciation. But just appreciate something, send out that vibe, and that will make you feel better and it'll make the other person feel better.
Awesome. Great tips. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell everybody how they can get in contact with you and find out more about you, and tell us about, you have some in-person events coming up. So tell us all about that.
Yes. All right. So I do clairvoyant readings and healings, and I also teach in-person workshops and teleseminars. The teleseminars are great because you can do them from the comfort of your own home. You can reach me I have a website, which is marielarotonda.com. And for anyone who's going to be in Northern California, in the Chico, California area, on March 15th, I will be at the Chico Healing Arts Festival. And the last weekend of March, so that's the weekend of March 28th, I will be in Reno, Nevada at the Reno Psychic Fair.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, we went all over the place from meditation to UFOs and ETs to talking to our lady parts. So I think, we got it all here. So.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Marie, for joining me today. It was such a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you. I appreciated it, and it was fun.
Yeah,
yes.
Cool. And now I'd love to hear from you guys. The most awesome discussions happen after the show over at theawakenedgoddess.com. So get yourself over there and leave a comment right now. Did you like this episode? If so, subscribe to the show. And of course, it would be amazing if you shared this with all your friends. And if you want even more incredible resources, come on over to theawakenedgoddess.com and sign up for email updates. And until next time, goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Awakened Goddess. I hope you enjoyed today's show and took away something you can start using in your life right away. For more spiritual insights and to listen to more episodes, subscribe to The Awakened Goddess Show at thegoddessnextdoor.com and discover wisdom that'll change your life.